This training covers one of the most important responsibilities a manager has, helping employees understand expectations, improve performance, and succeed over time. When performance management is done well, it feels fair, clear, and continuous. When it's done poorly, employees often feel surprised, confused, or treated inconsistently. Our goal today is to explore practical ways to create a more consistent approach to performance management so that employees know where they stand and managers feel confident in their decisions. Let's start by challenging a common misconception. When we refer to performance management, many people immediately think about annual reviews, ratings, and performance forms. But performance management is much bigger than that. It's really the ongoing process of helping employees succeed. The review itself is simply one moment in that process. Effective performance management includes setting clear expectations, providing regular coaching, documenting observations throughout the year, conducting fair evaluations, and consistently following through on commitments. Think about it this way. Employees should never be surprised by their performance review because the conversation has been happening all year long. What words come to mind when you hear performance management? By the end of this session, you should feel more equipped to document performance consistently, coach employees throughout the year, use objective criteria when evaluating performance, recognize and reduce bias, and conduct effective performance conversations. As we move through the session, think about which of these areas is most challenging for you today. For some managers, it's documentation. For others, it's giving feedback or navigating difficult performance conversations. Keep that challenge in mind and look for ideas you can immediately apply. At the heart of consistent performance management are four key elements: clarity, coaching, documentation, and fairness. Think of these as the four pillars supporting effective performance management. If expectations aren't clear, employees don't know what's expected. If coaching doesn't happen, improvement becomes difficult. And if documentation is missing, evaluations become subjective. When all four elements work together, managers make better decisions and employees have greater confidence in the process. Which of these four pillars do you think organizations struggle with most often? So why does consistency matter so much? Because inconsistency creates problems for everyone involved. Employees become confused about expectations. Team members may feel they're being treated differently than others. Managers can unintentionally introduce bias into decision making. Trust declines, engagement drops, and in some cases, turnover increases. There can also be legal and employee relations risks when organizations cannot demonstrate that performance expectations are being applied consistently. Consistency isn't about treating everyone exactly the same. It's about applying the same standards fairly and objectively. The key point here is consistency protects both the employee and the organization. One of the biggest causes of performance issues is lack of clarity. Employees cannot consistently meet expectations they don't fully understand. That's why effective expectations need to be specific, measurable, observable, time-bound, and documented. For example, telling an employee to improve communication is vague. Instead, a clear expectation might sound like, provide project status updates to stakeholders every Friday by 3 p.m. The more specific we are, the easier it becomes for employees to succeed and for managers to evaluate performance fairly. Clarity is the foundation of fairness. Now let's talk about documentation. One of the most common mistakes managers make is waiting until review season to think about employee performance. By then, important details are often forgotten. Strong managers document throughout the year. That includes wins, challenges, coaching conversations, missed expectations, improvements, and recurring performance patterns. The key is to document facts, not feelings. For example, instead of writing, John has a bad attitude, Document the specific behavior you observed. Focus on what happened, when it happened, and the impact it had. Good documentation helps ensure evaluations are accurate, fair, and evidence-based. Many managers only think about coaching when someone is struggling, but coaching is actually one of our most powerful tools for developing all employees, including top performers. Coaching helps employees build skills, improve performance, gain confidence, and stay engaged. It should be happening regularly, not just when problems arise. A simple coaching conversation might include questions like, what's going well? Where are you getting stuck? What support do you need? What would success look like? The best coaches are curious rather than corrective. Their goal is to help employees think through challenges and find solutions. Even the best managers can be influenced by unconscious bias. That's why awareness is so important. Some common biases include recency bias, where recent events outweigh everything else; the halo effect, where one strength influences our overall assessment; the horns effect, where one weakness overshadows everything positive. Similarity bias occurs when we favor people who are like us. And leniency or severity bias happens when we consistently rate everyone too high or too low. Before making a performance judgment, ask yourself one simple question. Is this based on evidence or is it based on perception? That question alone can significantly improve fairness. When evaluating performance, our focus should remain on behaviors, results, evidence, and expectations, not personality, not preference, and not assumptions. For example, saying, she's not a team player is too subjective. A stronger statement might be, she declined to participate in 3 cross-functional planning meetings despite being assigned to the project. Objective language helps managers communicate clearly and makes evaluations more credible. If a statement can't be supported by evidence, it probably shouldn't be part of the evaluation. Performance conversations don't have to be uncomfortable. In fact, the best conversations feel supportive and productive. Effective conversations include clear examples, balanced feedback, coaching questions, next steps, and specific follow-up dates. Remember, feedback is most effective when employees understand both what they're doing well and where they need to improve. Our goal isn't to criticize, it's to help employees succeed. Employees should leave these conversations with greater clarity and a clear path forward. Consistency doesn't come from annual reviews. It comes from small actions repeated every week. Consider these weekly habits. Document key observations. Coach at least one employee. Review goals and progress. Check for potential bias. Connect feedback to evidence. And follow up on commitments. These habits require only small investment of time but make performance management significantly easier throughout the year. Let's shift from learning to action. Take a moment to review the action plan on the screen. As you look at the commitments, think about which one would have the greatest impact on your team over the next 30 days. Identify at least one action you will begin immediately and write it down. Small changes implemented consistently often create big results. How do we know if our performance management practices are improving? There are several indicators. Documentation becomes more consistent. Coaching conversations happen more naturally. Evaluations become easier and more subjective. Employees better understand expectations. Performance issues decrease because problems are addressed earlier. And employee growth increases because development is happening continuously. These are the signs that performance management is becoming a regular leadership practice rather than a once-a-year activity. As we wrap up, remember this: performance management is not an annual event, it's a year-round leadership responsibility. When managers create clarity, provide coaching, document consistently, and evaluate fairly, employees are more likely to succeed. And when employees succeed, teams and organizations succeed as well. Thank you for participating today.